Hey, what's up, everybody? Hopefully, you all have had a wonderful weekend. Let me know if the audio is good. Looks like my stream is going just a little bit slow here, so hopefully everything works pretty smooth for me. What's up, Momo? What's up, Josh? So what's up, everybody? What's up, Anthony? Alright, so like I said, stream's running just a little bit slower than it normally does, so hopefully everything goes smooth. There's not a lot of action on this stream, so hopefully everything's good. YouTube says it's good, so I guess we'll have to just go with it. But anyway, welcome to the podcast. Yeah, so today's podcast, the topics, I wanted to kind of keep it light. As of right now, it looks like I'm going to be running this thing kind of solo. I believe that Islander had to actually work today, so he did say that he may drop by if he has a little bit of spare time on his shift, but we'll just kind of roll with it, and I'm sure you guys will definitely keep the topics flowing. But anyway, like I said, I wanted to keep it somewhat light for this discussion anyway, and I figured we would kind of go over the Christmas event since it is coming to an end. I believe we have just over 1 day left, so kind of just want to check in with you guys, see what you guys thought of it, and then I also wanted to talk a little bit about the next update, which we should actually be seeing probably within the next week or two. I don't really have a lot of insider information on that, but just some things that I do expect to be getting along with that update, and some things that I kind of hope for. So figured we would go ahead and go over all of that and see what you guys have to say about it. But yeah, so let's go ahead and jump into the regular stream here. What's up, Gentle? DJ KLB? Elena? What's up? American Monster? Keeper of Illuminated Light. Interesting name. It's going good. But anyway. Hey, what's up, Robin? Hey, for those of you that are not aware, Robin Van Looy there in the chat, he's another YouTuber. He's got actually a pretty good size subscriber base, and he does War Robots videos, and he was recently picked up as a new influencer, so welcome to the influencer program. I might get with you on the backside at some point, Robin, see if you might be interested in joining me and Islander here on the podcast. Yeah, Momo, they've ever since the last update, they kind of broke the ability to look around when you're dropping into a match, and honestly, I kind of hate it because, personally, I run like 2 hangars. I keep one hangar with all of my primary bots, my main hangar, and it has all my expensive modules and everything on it. And then I like to keep a second hangar for when we're in a squad or dropping against randoms that really don't have much of a chance. But without being able to look around, you can't see who you're dropping against, and it kind of sucks. So I've just been kind of having to use my main hangar every match. But yeah, hopefully that is something that will change. Not real happy with it the way it is. Okay, so we'll just kind of jump right into it, guys. As you all know, the Christmas event has been going for like a month now, just about. I think it was like a month, and it's been going for a while, but the event is wrapping up and it is coming to a close. I believe we have how much time? We have 1 day and 9 hours according to my war robots here. And here, actually, let me see if I can pull that up for you guys. Open. Trying to get my iPad screen to show up here, but it is not responding. So give me just 1 second here. There it is. Oh, there it was. Clicked it too many times. Anyway, it'll show up here in just a second, but I wanted to go over the event prizes, just kind of give everybody a reminder of what all they were offering this time around, because I actually kind of liked some of the things about this event, but there were some things that I definitely did not like with this event, and hopefully, okay, there we go. Looks like it's up. All right, so anyway, this is my main account here. Now I didn't spend any money or anything. Actually, I have a chest I can open. Let me go ahead and open that up. Oh, another leech paint job. No, thank you. But yeah, so I didn't spend any money on this event. Usually I do. I wait for the sale and I'll drop a few bucks and pick up some tokens. But this time around, I chose not to do that, and the reason for that was because it was all of these old weapons that have already been part of the other event, which I really do like that. Don't get me wrong. I do like that that they gave people another opportunity to pick some of these special weapons up that might have missed them in the previous events. But for me personally, it didn't make any sense to spend money on it, because I have, like 5 or 6 Freedom Igniters. I have, 3 or 4 of the Freedom Hussars. So most of these I really didn't want. But like I said, I really do like how they did bring them back at the end of the year. All the previous limited edition weapons, so that we can give some people an opportunity to pick them up if they missed them during the regular event. But that being said, another thing I personally did not like about this event was there was actually too many items in it. Now, I think it's good that they're kind of boosting up some of the item numbers. It does kind of give you maybe a slightly increased chance of picking up an actual item rather than components or power cells. But in this case, I think there was just too many. So, for example, the only thing I was really kind of hoping to get weapon wise was some more of these Freedom Avalanche, because I only had one from the 4th of July event. But with so many of these other weapons, there's like no chance that I'm actually going to get the one that I want. The only other thing that I really wanted out of this event was the Fenrir pilot, and that really wasn't to me worth dropping cash on, because he's going to be available as soon as the event ends. He's going to be in the regular pilot pool, and I'll have a chance to pick him up just for 2,500 gold. So for me, that's, I don't know, that was the only thing that I really wanted. I'm pretty sure that they will also bring the Giftbringer Fenrir and drop him into the black market. They've been kind of doing that with the special robots, putting all of them basically in the super chest. But yeah, I mean, that's it. I mean, as far as what I actually got on this one though, I didn't get much. I got one Viper, which wasn't bad. I do like my Vipers, but I've already got like 5 or 6 of them. I got another Dragon Blaze, which I just sold because, well, I already had like 5 or 6 of them as well. I did pick up the numerous paint jobs, actually, and I'm not going to use any of them, so those were just kind of pointless for me. I did end up getting like another Leech, which I don't need, and like a half of a Phantom, and the only other thing that I kind of wanted was honestly power cells, and I did pretty much get hooked up with a lot of power cells, so that I won't complain about. But I mean, let me know in the chat what you guys thought of the event itself. Like, was it what you were expecting? Because for me, I was honestly expecting a little bit more, especially being that it was the Christmas event, and we kind of, you know, look forward to it all year. It's usually like a big sale, or they have, you know, some really cool robot or something in there. But this time, none of that happened, and just kind of was a little bit disappointing for me. The length of it, though, I mean, I think was interesting because it did go for, I believe, over 30 days in total, and I think that really gave a lot of people, especially the free players, a few more opportunities to pick some things up because of the daily tasks and getting, you know, 100 coins a day, so you could at least get a free spin. But yeah, I mean, let me know in the chat what you guys think. I mean, did you guys get anything that you wanted out of the event? And then, you know, there's, aside from that, there's not really a lot for, I mean, to talk about it, because I mean, it's been here for so long, and I think most of the people that were going to drop cash on it probably already did, and hopefully you guys got something out of it, something better than I got anyway. I know I was seeing early on quite a few posts of people picking things up, but you know, not too many people were really saying, oh hey, you know, I got this and I was super excited. So, you know, like I said, just let me know in the chat, did you guys pick up anything great? I know a few people were kind of really wanting that Fenrir, and hopefully you guys got that, because Fenrir is just a super fun robot. See, Mix Fan was saying that he's not quite a fan of this event. Only one thing he actually wanted, and not enough to spend any money on it. So sounds like it was pretty much the same boat that I was in on that. And Anthony, you sold 7 of the paint jobs. Yeah, you know, I guess that is a good thing. Though I do wish that legendary paint jobs sold for a little bit more. But you know, you do have the option of selling them at least, so you can at least pick up a little bit of silver. Turbo Knight picked up the Freedom Avalanche and 2 Santa pilots. Want to trade for an Eldritch Ares? You know, if I could, I would trade you in a heartbeat, because I'm not a big fan of the Ares, as most of you know if you watch any of my live streams. Looks like DJ picked up power cells, a little bit of gold, and 1 Viper. So yeah, I mean, for a 30-day event, you know, it just doesn't seem like people were really picking much up out of this one. xFan says, I would rather see them introduce weapon and bot tokens in the events, allow people to then go to an event store and cash in their tokens for a weapon or robot on the event list. Now that's actually a really good idea. Something kind of like, I guess if I'm understanding this correctly, you're saying maybe something similar to the components, but you can trade them in. Basically, you know, certain weapons might cost 100 or 500, whatever it is, and you could basically choose from a storefront, an event store. That's actually a really good idea. I might pass that on to Pixonic. Oh, by the way, how's it going, AD Gaming? Lone won a leech and sold it. Wacky won a leech paint job but doesn't have a leech. That's kind of a bummer when that happens. Transit got mostly power cells, a little bit of gold. Alright, so I mean, there was some mix, but you know, for the number of weapons that were in there, it doesn't sound like a lot of people were really getting that many of the weapons. So maybe that's something that Pixonic should look into, is maybe adjusting the drop rate of the items themselves. David picks up the pilot from the second day. Leech skin on the third day. And got enough leech components to no, he built a leech already last month, but he got a bunch of leech components and power cells. Looks like Lawrence made out. 3 Sinister Cryo, 2 Sinister Glaciers, Freedom Avalanche, Dragon Marquez, Imperial Hades, 2 Leech skins, 2 Loki skins, a bunch of power cells, and components. But he only wanted the Viper. That's just, I guess that's just how it goes. Dr. Foss wants to know, do we think the leech will get nerfed? I'd say probably not this next update, but maybe the update after that. I don't know if they'll actually nerf the leech directly. They might. But I think what they're more likely to do is introduce robots, or you know, a module or something that helps to defeat the leeches a little bit easier. Kind of what they did with the Titans. That when they buffed the Titans, that was an indirect nerf to the leech, because they gave the all of the Titan weapons the ability to shoot through the leeches. Sorry, brain's not working. The what is it called? Let me open this up and find out. Keep thinking corrosion. No, it's not corrosion. Anyway, the Titans, when they got buffed, they were all given the ability on all of their weapons to basically counter any kind of why can I not think right now? Having a bit of a rough afternoon, so my brain's not quite functioning. That is why. Anyway, the defense is what it goes through. So since the leech does get that boost in their defense when they use their ability, it was kind of an indirect nerf. Let's see, Turbonite's asking what happened if you could make the special edition robots and weapons in the workshop. Well, if that was possible, it wouldn't really be a special edition. Momo says he preferred the way the events used to be run, where you actually got specific items for completing tasks rather than the tokens. I honestly wasn't playing much for some of those other events that were like that, but I do kind of like the token events, just because it allows you to kind of build them up, and it doesn't require quite as much grinding. Just trying to catch up here on some of the chat. I was falling a bit behind. Now keep in mind that another indirect leech nerf is if they decide to bring that nerf of phase shift to the live server, which I'm gonna kind of get into as I talk about the next update. And yes, that is true, Wacky Wayland. The Cerberus is going to be available for everybody on at level 80 of the free pass on the next operation, which I think is a great move by Pixonic to at least get the community robot into as many hangars as possible at no cost. So, I mean, yeah, some people are going to have to really grind for it, but it is there. Josh is asking me what the best weapon is right now. Honestly, there's a few really good weapons for the heavy slots. I really like the Glory and the Viper. I know for those of you wondering how the Viper stacks up against the Avengers, I believe Ager just released a video. It was either today or yesterday showing a direct comparison between Vipers and the Avengers, and Vipers do very well. So, and they're also very good at you know, taking out some of those tank bots and Titans. So Pedro, it'd be nice to change your hangar when you're in a squad without having to leave the squad. Technically you can do that right now, you just need a second device. But yeah, it would be kind of interesting if they could maybe implement a way of accessing your hangar to make changes, you know, from the same device. But you know, a workaround for that is if you're playing on like an iPad or a tablet, you can, you know, open up your phone, and as long as you're signed into the same War Robots account, you can make changes, and it'll make changes to your active hangar. Josh is asking when I'm going live again on COD Mobile. I don't know. That's not my channel main focus. I do want to get more COD Mobile gameplay on my channel, but I've been doing a lot of work in the background here, trying to smooth out a lot of things with my channel and make improvements. And once that stuff slows down, I might have some more time to actually do some COD Mobile live streams. Alright, so it looks like we can go ahead and move on to the next topic of conversation, and that's the next update. Part of it is kind of along the same lines though, because with the next update, we should see the Lunar New Year event. And for those of you that were around last year, the Lunar New Year event actually kicked off on, I think, February 5th, 4th or 5th, so it's literally right around the corner. And it was actually a pretty decent event. I don't know what all is going to be in store for that event specifically, but I do suspect that they are going to be releasing on the next update the 3 new robots that we've been testing on the test server. That's the Ravana, Cerberus, and Nightingale. So I do, since everybody's going to be getting the Cerberus, or have access to get the Cerberus for free on the next operation, I kind of think that the Lunar New Year event is probably going to be tied into the Nightingale and the Ravana. I would kind of expect that those two will be prizes for the Lunar New Year, and if they keep up with what they've been doing with the events, we'll probably see them as a full robot as well as the components. I don't think we're going to be seeing any new weapons, but I do hope that possibly they will be adding some Titan weapons into the Lunar New Year event. I think that would be a great addition, and I think that would be just a really good move on their part, because giving the weapons away, the Titan weapons anyway, isn't really gonna cut too much into their bottom line, because people are gonna want to then level them up, and that's gonna take a lot of platinum. So I think it would be a really good move on their part if they did actually put the Titan weapons into the Lunar New Year event. And I know that they are at least looking at doing giveaways with things like Titan weapons. The Asian, here's the Japanese War Robots account, the Twitter account that they have over there. They do frequent giveaways, and I believe it was last week they had a small giveaway for the, I think it was the SAR weapon, the rocket weapon, the Alpha, and so I know they're at least testing the waters for giveaways for the Titan weapons, so I'm kind of hopeful that we might actually see them as part of that event, like I said. Also coming with the next update, and the reason why, and first let me, I guess, tell you all, I don't have any of this as insider information. This is just based on the history and what they usually do. And as most of you know, we were testing those 3 robots and the possible nerf to phase shift on the test server, and for the last 2 weekends the test server has not been open, which tells me that they're done with all of the testing, so they're now waiting to go live. And with the next update coming in the next week or so, I think that's what's going to happen. Now, I do hope that we do see a nerf to the phase shift, but who knows what it's actually going to be when it actually hits the live server. When is the lag going away? You know, this was actually a conversation I had with somebody in my clan the other night, talking about lag, because, you know, there's a lot of reasons why there's lag in the game. And he mentioned that, you know, his concern with the merger would be that because the Android player base is much larger than the iOS player base, so once the merger happens, you know, they're going to be coming over to what was the iOS servers, and it's going to add a lot more strain and possibly increase the lag, because you know, for most people on iOS, I mean, lag, it happens, but it's not as bad as Android. And in my opinion, I don't think it's really going to increase the lag much, and here's why. Because right now, with the heavy player population being on the Android servers, yes, there is increased lag because of that, but it's also due to a lot of the old coding, which, you know, they have admitted to that you know, the old code doesn't work so well with all the newer code that they're putting in. So as part of the merger, they have to clean all of that up just as part of the merger. But I think lowering the player base on the Android servers and shifting some of them over to the iOS servers, I think in combination with the cleaned up coding is going to help everybody actually experience less lag. So we're actually going to no longer have the server split between, okay, these are only for Android players and these are only for iOS players. You know, we would then be able to actually kind of go between servers. So when you jump into a match or something like that, you'll end up going to the nearest server that has the lowest capacity at that time. So I think as a whole, everybody should experience less lag, if that makes any sense to you guys. And talking about the nerf to phase shift, okay, what was tested on the test server is it cut down the time that somebody was in phase shift to like 3 seconds or something like that. So they cut a good amount of time off of it. Personally, I don't think that's going to be enough of a nerf to phase shift, because I think they're kind of looking in the wrong direction on how they're going about nerfing it. I think what they need to do is actually nerf the pilot abilities associated to the active modules more than they need to nerf the phase shift itself. But what do you guys think as far as the possible nerf to phase shift? And, you know, do you think that's going to be enough, just cutting it, you know, down in the amount of time somebody is phase shifted? Or do you think we're going to have to see additional changes? When will skirmish be back? Didn't... I thought they had actually... where did I see? I saw something talking about a skirmish recently. Thought it was on maybe a Facebook post or something. I'd have to go back and look, but you know, I'm not sure why skirmish was pulled. Maybe they're working on other things with the merger and everything and just can't put the resources into doing the temporary skirmish mode. Ornstein says he would rather leave phase shift alone and just remove the module pilot skills. Yeah, I think that would have a much bigger impact on the abuse of phase shift than actually lowering the amount of time somebody can be in phase shift. Ruguru is asking if Eddie is stopping by tonight. He might drop in. He did have to work today, so if he gets some extra time on his shift, he said he might drop by, but no guarantees. With his line of work, it's kind of hard to tell. So. Yeah, that's right, Lawrence. The phase shift would still get 4 seconds worth of phase shift time if you have the pilot ability that extends it out. So it's not really going to affect a whole lot, to be honest. Hey, have a good night, AD. Thanks for swinging by. Yeah, foolhardy quartermaster, I think, is the biggest offender there for people abusing phase shift. That's the one that gives you the ability to do a double phase shift. And yeah, I think that that pilot skill should just go away. I don't really see a use for it with any of the modules, to be honest. I mean, maybe it would be okay with the healing module, but aside from that, I think it's a big problem. Momo thinks the lockdown is a worse problem than phase shift. Well, oh, yes. Glad that you actually brought up the lockdown, because that was another change that we had been testing on the test server. I almost forgot about it. The possible changes to the lockdown weapons, at least the shotguns, where it requires a small lockdown meter to get filled up. So I think it's after 3 or 4 shots, it fills up the meter and then you get lockdown. I think that change is a very positive change for people that like and don't like lockdown weapons. I think both sides would probably like to see that, because then it would no longer be a random chance on whether or not you're locking somebody down. So for people that enjoy using lockdown weapons, I think that's a win. And for people that don't like lockdown weapons, then you'll also have visibility on that meter, and you're not gonna have any more of those one-shot lockdowns. So I think that's a positive change. And I do expect that to actually go into the game. Xfant says that they should make it so you can't grab beacons, regen weapons, or cooldown in phase shift, and actually get rid of the foolhardy skill. Yeah, I'm with you 100% on the foolhardy skill. I think it should go away. But as far as, and this was a, just devil's advocate discussion that I was having with another one of my clan members the other day. We were talking about, people in phase shift, how can you, get a beacon if you're in phase shift, if you're in another dimension or whatever it is. And I'm like, well, if the technology is advanced enough to where you could actually phase shift into another dimension, then what's to say that you don't have the technology that still allows you to get a beacon when you're in that phase shift? Just kind of a devil's advocate type of thing. I think maybe they should have just described it differently, but when they originally said that, hey, you're actually shifting into a different dimension, I think that a lot of people kind of took that more literal than how it actually operated. American Monster says leave phase shift at 5 seconds, but make it anti-lockdown, but have phase shift be like 80 to 90% resistance. So you're saying just kind of instead of being completely immune to all effects, it just increases your resistance by a lot and clears you of any lockdown. I could see that being fairly effective. That way, I mean, if you're still going at somebody, you still have a chance of still doing something. The only downside I see to that is since the Titans buff and release, anything with resistance, no matter how high the resistance, I don't think is valid anymore, because the Titans completely negate the resistance with their weapons. So I think that would just completely make phase shift kind of pointless at that point, so might as well just get rid of it. Pedro thinks that phase shift should also stop loading the weapon. And that's why, right? War Robots Bot Killer, it's a good point. It says that because we didn't buy phase shift, he wouldn't be surprised if they just removed it. Which, in all honesty, I think that would be the #1 solution. Just get rid of phase shift, and you are 100% correct. Nobody in this game has invested anything into phase shift. Sure, you use a lot of your power cells using phase shift, but you didn't buy it. You didn't spend gold or real money to get access to it, so they could technically just remove it from the game. Terminite's asking, what about the special edition Phantom and Halos? That's one of those things that I think they just put on the back burner and haven't really talked about since. I do remember what you were talking about. They asked us, what kind of, design ideas we wanted for a custom Phantom and the Halos, and we just never heard anything more from it. I don't know what they're going to be doing with that, to be honest. And one dead clown says that he thinks any nerf is better than no nerf for phase shift. Gonna do his best to put the hurt on either way. And he's sick of being tapped instead of patience and skill. Not exactly sure what you mean there, but yeah, I mean, I do agree. At least they're looking into it, and any kind of change is going to be a positive change. But as Lawrence kind of pointed out earlier, that if you're using multiple of the pilot abilities for the active modules, then you're going from 6 seconds down to 4 seconds or something like that on phase shift. So 4 seconds is still quite a long time for somebody to be in phase shift, and then with the foolhardy quartermaster, you're going to get that double phase shift still going on. Hey, I'm right there with you, American Monster. You don't understand lockdown. How's it possible for one shot to lock you down when you can shoot all day and you never lock them down? Yeah, that happens to everybody, I think. I think it's just a perspective thing. Hooligan Danny says, maybe I'm behind, but there is a skill for pilots to extend phase shift. Yes, there is. I don't remember the exact name of the pilot skill, but it's available on, I believe, every pilot. And Yeah, it extends the duration of any active module, so it's not just for phase shift, it's actually for all. See if I can find the name for it real quick here. Modules Expert is what it's called. At max, it is 25% increase in the duration of your active modules, and then Dodger is another module pilot skill that decreases the recharge time of the active modules by 25%, and then Foolhardy Quartermaster is the one that gives you the ability to use it after your health reaches 50%. So that's where the double phase shift comes in. What about the Titans shooting outside the carrier map? You know, I think that's just kind of a unique problem. And if I understand what you're saying, Howard, is that mainly the Ao Ming, since it can fly indefinitely, they can fly out over the water on carrier map, where they're basically out of range and nobody can shoot them. But if they have the energy weapons, then they can sit there, 500 meters off of carrier and just take people out. I think it's kind of a crappy way to play, and I think that was just kind of something that was overlooked by Pixonic as far as just that one map. That is the only place in the game where you can do that. Yeah, no doubt Lawrence the Phantom probably will be obsolete by the time they get around to releasing its special edition that they were thinking about making. Yeah, I do see some people doing that, Pedro. Pedro says there's going to be more QR, quantum radar, going instead of phase shift because of the Nightingale that's being released, and that is a possibility. We might see that, but we'll just have to wait and see, because even though we tested things, on the test server, they usually get released to the live server a little bit differently than we tested them. So we'll have to see really how strong the Nightingale is once it comes to the live server. But yeah, I mean, absolutely, if it's decent at all, I think people will be putting some more QR back into their hangars. I have noticed more people running QR lately anyway, just because with the current meta right now, really at the highest levels, it's leeches or a combination of leeches and Aljuns with a phantom dropped in here and there. So with so many Aljuns flying around again, I think more people have been putting the quantum radar on their robots. xFant says that he swears there's a bug with lockdown on Titans. It happens almost instantaneous. That's really not a bug, xFant. You have to remember that with Titans, their hitbox is so much larger than the smaller robots. So when you're getting hit with the lockdown shotguns, you actually have more of the pellets hitting the robot because it's a bigger hitbox. And with each pellet, each one has its own random chance of actually locking you down. So you're gonna get more lockdowns going against Titans with the lockdown weapons, but that should get changed if they bring the change to the lockdown weapons to the live server. And I know we only tested the lockdown change on the lockdown shotguns, but I do suspect that if it goes to the live server, we will also see that same change go over to the Pulsar and Shredder as well. What do I think about the double Titan blast? Not sure what you mean by that. Welcome back, Pranjit. What are my thoughts on a better robots and weapons to combat the Arthur? Honestly, to go against an Arthur, what you need is something with splash damage. So that's going to be either rocket weapons, which we all know are not very good against the regular robots because of phase shift and last stands. The cryo weapons do pretty well though, because of, you know, all of the extra things that the cryo weapons do and the buff that they received recently. So those are a good option for taking out an Arthur, because those bypass the Arthur shield. But also don't forget about the flame weapons. All of the flame weapons also have a small splash radius. They actually recently increased the splash radius of the Blaze, and I think the reason why they increased the splash radius on the Blaze is so that the Blaze would actually go past the Arthur's shield. So those are really good choices for countering the Arthur. You know, along with, also don't forget about, you know, your kinetic weapons. If you don't have, or you don't want to use the splash weapons, you could also use things like the Avenger, because the Avenger or even the regular shotguns, they do double damage to physical shield, so it does help you get through the Arthur shield a little bit faster. Medium Zeniths are the next meta. Shut your mouth. Don't give them that idea, please. Though Zeniths would actually be a pretty good counter to the Arthur as well, because they actually do splash damage. Double Arthur blast. Yeah, I'll have to go through and look at your video. I'm not exactly sure I'm familiar with what you're talking about. Unless I mean, it just sounds like two Arthurs next to each other and can pretty much kill any robot. Well, not any, but most robots with just two blasts. But I don't know if that's what you're talking about or not. Momo says the game actually got quite diverse when you think about it. In the past, each meta completely took over the last one. Now, besides the Leech and Phantom running ass clowns, I'm guessing that was an abbreviation, you see quite a variety. I honestly, I kind of agree with that. For those players that chose not to overdo the meta with the leeches, I am seeing a lot more diversity, and the fact that, you know, some of the older bots are able to keep going. I mean, like the Aojun, for example. And I know some people absolutely hate the Aojun, but the Aojun has been in the game for a long time now, and it is still a premier robot. So you know, I think that's actually a good thing, you know, that shows that people can stick with some of the other things and, you know, have time to level them up, which I think is one of the main reasons people were having a problem with the release rate of new content and new robots that we saw like last year, or the year before that rather. You know, now at this point, yeah, we're about ready to get some new robots into the game, but they you know, we've had the leeches and phantoms in the game for a while now, and most people have had a chance to get them, level them up, and play with them for a while. So, you know, I think that's good. And, you know, at some point we have to let them release new content, otherwise the game will get stale. So I think the pace that we've been at right now is kind of a good one. And the one thing I haven't really touched on, I don't know if those guys have really been paying attention to what I'm saying or not, but what I haven't really touched on is the economy with the next update, because I don't know if we are going to see the proposed change to the silver in this update, or if in fact it's going to come in update 5.8. When they originally discussed releasing the change to the way we get silver, and changing it from being damage based, which we all know is completely screwed up at this point, and they're proposing to change it to honor based. They said that we would see that change, and this is their quote, next update 5.8. I don't know if there's a translation issue going on there, but next update is 5.7, not 5.8. So I don't know if we're going to see that change. I hope that we do, though, because honestly, I am silver poor, just like the rest of you, and it sucks. It absolutely sucks. But I do think that they would be smart if they actually pushed it out this update, because I'm hoping that sometime around update 5.8, 5.9 is when we're actually going to see the merger. Lawrence said even with double damage, he was pounding on an Arthur shield for over 2 minutes with a blitz and with a blitz gust. Yeah, you know, if you're going straight on, you know, you're going to be there for a while. I mean, it's over 1 million damage you have to do. So even using, you know, something like a blitz gust, you know, but the thing is, you know, if you're in a blitz, you know, use your ability and try and use your speed to get around the side of them, and they end up going down real quick if you don't shoot directly at their shield. Imagine 4 Arthurs all standing back in a circle. Yeah, that would be a tough one, especially if it was like on the center in Yamantau. Oh man, that would just suck. I mean, I have faced multiple Arthurs in center on Yamantau, and it's tough. It is tough. I actually have an Arthur video getting ready to come out. It's the Arthur with the Dragoon, the 600-meter energy weapons, and that thing's a beast. Should be actually posting it here. I tried to get it uploaded before the stream, but it wasn't going to finish the upload, so I had to cancel it so that it wasn't eating into my bandwidth here for streaming. MixFan says he's nervous about the economy change. It's based on honor points and the honor system is flawed. You know, I agree, the honor system does have its flaws, and that is a concern to me, but I think it's positive because then we're going to know how silver is calculated. I think that's going to be the biggest benefit. It's also going to drive people to diversify their hangers even more, because all these dudes rolling 5 leeches, yeah, they're going to be doing lots of damage still, but if damage isn't getting them the silver, they're going to make changes. And you know, you can't get the most honor points anymore just because you do a lot of damage. I mean, I've done over a million, you know, like over 1 million more than another guy who was ranked on, you know, ahead of me because of honor points. So, you know, you can't rely solely on the damage anymore, and I think that's going to be a good thing overall for the game. We might see some more healer robots getting put back into the to the main hangers of a lot of people, which I think would be good. The only downside is that because of all the other changes we've had recently, unless the Nightingale is like this killer super great robot that does healing, suppression, you know, does it all, and can stay alive, I don't know there's another healer that I'd be comfortable putting into my lineup at this point. You know, I personally really enjoy playing with a Mender, but a Mender is not nearly as strong as it was 3 months ago. You know, 3, 4, 5 months ago, the Mender, if you had a spec right with the pilots, I mean, it was a tough little tank and a healer. But you know, now, you know, its resistance that it gets in its when it uses its heal and its ability, it's not enough. Menders just go down so fast now. And we all know how good the Wayland is, right? And I agree with you, Lawrence. I don't think silver payout will increase much, to be honest, when they make the change to the way it is. But at least we will have the ability to affect it in some way. Just knowing how silver is calculated, we should be able to set up our hangers or play in a certain way, which can help boost our silver at least to a degree. Kind of going over chat here, make sure I'm not missing too much. Ares train versus Spectre Shock train with Shield Breaker. You know, those are two metas that I am glad are gone and in the past. It's that guy says, I am a mid-level player and I'm wondering why is it so hard to upgrade anything. Silver is just not there. 5.8 update is too far away. I think Pixonic needs to address this now. You know, it's not just you. It has nothing to do with your league. Of course, it's probably a little harder at lower leagues because, you know, you get less silver. But yeah, I mean, everybody's feeling that. You know, it's hard to really farm enough silver these days, and this has been something that they should have addressed. I mean, honestly, they should have addressed it a while back, but you know, even more so, they should have addressed it immediately when they realized silver was bugged, like a month and a half ago, or at the end of November, whenever it was that we had that big silver bug going on. And it never really improved. I mean, they made the adjustments supposedly to Titans, but you know, you're still not really making any silver out of it. So I think what they should have done is just, you know, turned up the amount of silver payout, and then, you know, waited until they could implement the new system. But unfortunately, they didn't do that. So everybody is pretty much silver poor at this point. Yeah, ancient tier is actually not a bad robot, or the tier in general. You know, it is a fairly strong robot if it's leveled up to high levels. Unfortunately, in the lower levels, it's really not very good. But you know, it's possible you can still at least get some check marks in there for the honor points. You know, and it is a strong robot. You know, like I said, one is leveled up, so that's an option for a healing bot, I guess. Yep, Anthony, you are absolutely right. That does happen sometimes. You can be at a match, you can be top damage, top beacons, top kills, and still not get first place because somebody else had a healer. It does make a difference. Yes, Michael, that is true. Stan likes nuts. It's that guy. On a positive note, he says that he's seeing fewer tanking players than before. I don't know if I've really seen fewer, but you know, I always stay in Champion League, so maybe they're just all down far enough where I'm not seeing them anymore. But if there are fewer people tanking, I think that would be a good thing. Price of upgrades. I don't think the price of upgrades is going to change, to be honest. John, when do I think the leech is going to get a nerf? It's going to be a while before it sees a direct nerf. Yeah, upgrading Titans, and you know, it's hard to do, it's expensive, and it takes a while. But you know, the good thing is that Titans, even at low levels, man, they just chew through the leeches. So. What's up, Death Watch? Well, I think I'm going to go ahead and just open it up for any last minute questions here, guys. But I think, you know, we pretty much covered, you know, what my ideas were, you know, on what I'm kind of expecting with this next update. When it hits, shared with you some, you know, positives and mostly disappointment from the Christmas event. But, you know, I'm really looking forward to the next event, especially if, you know, we do see some changes like the phase shift. At least getting some mild nerf. Really, if the economy change does hit with that, with the silver payout, I think that's going to be huge. But you know, like I said, I don't know if it's going to be in this next update or not. And I am looking forward to the next event. Mainly because I think that's, you know, where they are going to be focusing on the new robots that are coming out. And honestly, I think the Ravana is just a lot of fun. At least it was on test server, so I'm kind of looking forward to playing with that. Yeah, and the we still have like 30 days almost of the of this probably a little less than 30 days of the current operation that we're in. So it's going to be a little while before we see the next operation, but it'll probably be at some point after the Lunar New Year event. Is there a way to point to a tanker in your team? No. Just take screenshots and you know, send a report in using in-game chat if that's what you're asking. The in-game help system. Omniverse. Yeah, maybe so. Maybe so. Yeah, can I have 1,000 subs? That's pretty much true in all the leagues, unfortunately. I mean, every once in a while I get a decent silver payout, but I'm talking like, you know, I hit like 3.5 million damage, and you know, I get, you know, 1 million silver. You know, at this point, I think that's considered a good payout, which before that would have been terrible. But yeah, I think everybody is feeling the pinch on silver. It's that guy. Yeah, that's not a bad idea, saving the platinum for the next Titan release. You never know, it might be a fun robot, might not. And if it's not, then you can pick one of the other ones and you'll have plenty of platinum. Personally, I was holding on to platinum, but then I ended up going with the Arthur myself. But you know, I really like tanking, you know, robots and brawling. So for me, that really just fit my playstyle. So I was comfortable with picking up the Arthur. Could I mitigate my music? I could, but why would I want to do that? That's nice, Elio. It's a good pilot. I think I would invest the gold in picking him up and making the switch from the pilot that I'm using currently on my Fenrir. Leech and Phantom and clan squads is all you see. Yeah, that's unfortunately a lot of them are doing that, and I do think that Matchmaker will definitely improve when we do see the merger at least. So we'll hopefully I'll be seeing fewer squads going against randoms, and if all the leech, you know, 5 leech hanger squads want to sit and play each other all day, then hopefully they'll be able to do that. Hey, thanks for that, Lawrence. How am I liking the Arthur? Actually, I really like it. Even at low level, that shield is a beast to get through. Super slow. That's the only thing that's really annoying with it. But you know, he actually does pretty good, and even at you know, super low level, he's fairly strong. So I've really enjoyed playing with the Arthur. And like I said, I will be at some point this evening after the show here. I'll be uploading the latest Arthur video, which is a maxed out Arthur using the 600 meter energy weapons, and I can tell you that is a solid build. One asks, do I think people will run 5 Ravana in a hangar? You know, I don't know. I don't think so, to be honest. The Ravana is fun, but I don't think it is quite as strong as the Leech. It is a decent counter to the Leech, at least. When I was playing with it on a test server, I felt it was kind of somewhat of a counter to the Leech, but it is a little bit more of a skill-based robot. So you know, we'll just have to wait and see. You know, I'm sure there's going to be somebody out there that's going to stick, you know, 5 Ravana in their hangar. I mean, hell, I saw a post on social media, I think it was yesterday. Somebody showed somebody running 5 maxed out behemoths, MK2 level 12, 5 of them in a hangar. I can't imagine. That would be, I don't know. That's not my play style, but you know, there's somebody somewhere that's always into some of that weird stuff. Any idea when we'll be able to upgrade Titan modules? Most likely it will be Platinum. And I think they are waiting to unlock that until they feel like the initial release of the Titans and their revenue stream from people buying Platinum has slowed down, and then they will likely release that. Pretty sure it's unfortunately going to be based on money, but yeah, it's definitely going to be with Platinum to upgrade anything with the Titans. But yeah, I think that's gonna wrap it up, everybody. You know, I appreciate everybody that hung out and participated in the podcast today. I do apologize that we did not have Islander with us today. He did let me know yesterday that he did have to work today. So, but you know, I enjoy just, you know, kind of shooting the shit with you all, and figured I'd go ahead and roll it solo, though I do have a lot more fun when Islander is here. But anyway, that is going to be doing it for today's podcast. Like I said, thank you all for hanging out. Thank you all for participating. It's your comments and your participation that really make this an enjoyable stream. You know, I just really enjoy interacting with you all and hearing your opinions. But yeah, I think the next stream anyway that I'm going to be doing is going to be my Wednesday night stream. So if you guys are in the mood, or on YouTube, I usually stream Wednesdays and Friday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern time. So definitely check that out. Usually with my clanmates, just kind of having a little bit of fun, and then just keep an eye out for some videos. Which here probably in the next hour or two, you should be seeing another Titan video from me popping up on YouTube. So hopefully you guys will check that out. And if you enjoy it, definitely give it a like. If you enjoyed, you know, this podcast, definitely give it a like as well. It really helps me out. But yeah, that's gonna do it for me. So everybody take care of yourselves, stay safe, and until the next one, Chief out.